Please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Kressel,
Here.
Platt,
Here.
Bedbratton,
Here.
Melby,
Here.
Jurdy,
Here.
Erickson,
Here.
Briggs,
Here.
Cavalier.
Here.
Okay, this brings us to the open forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda, may come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none from the council chambers. Chad, is there anyone on the city phone bridge?
There's no one on the bridge, Your Honor. I will close it.
All right, thank you.
Agent logged up.
No presentations. This brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add or remove anything from tonight's agenda? Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second.
Wayne, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bedbratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Delane. Roll call, please.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bedbratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, no public hearings. This brings us to the regular agenda. Ashley.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 8.01 is a resolution repealing the ordinance of number 86, third series, passed on April 12th, 2021, which authorized the electronic participation in city council meetings and establishing procedures for electronic participation.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Christie. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. Discussion?
Can you explain this?
Corky, would you like to fill us in a little bit, please?
Sure. You may recall that back in April of
Corky, can you hit your microphone on? There you go.
You may recall back in April of '21, the governor had a pandemic order, and there were certain provisions that were allowed at that time. The governor has since rescinded the pandemic order, and the now statute allows for meetings to be more broadly available to all of you at different locations. One, it can be anywhere at any time as long as the proper notice is given, and as long as the person who is seeking to be participating at a remote location gives the address of that location, and that anyone who would be there could see and hear the proceedings just as a council person could. So let's say you were in Anaheim, California at Disneyland. You were staying there, you'd have to give the address of the place you were staying, room number, and make it available to a citizen who wanted to be there. But you can do it at any time. It's not dependent on the pandemic. So it's more broadly available if proper notice is given.
And so, can I just clarify, so you cannot participate if proper notice is not given?
Correct.
And then two, does it require you to be in a public space? Because I
No.
imagine being in
No.
your room.
You can be anywhere
someone has to be
as
able to come
long
in.
as it's available for the public
Okay.
to come.
All right.
And that would be available if you give notice where you're going to be.
Well, who are you supposed to give the notice to?
It's published just as you would on any council meeting, saying, I will be absent from the council chambers, but I will be at my address, 601 4th Avenue Northeast, number 2.
Corky, if I could jump in, so notice should be given, really, the city administrator should know if you're not going to be here, and then certainly the city clerk, so that they can produce that notice and get it out to our media outlets and on our website and our Facebook, as we would with our agendas.
Is there a timeline or like 24 hours, 48 hour, is there a notice time that has to
We
be?
aim for 3 days
3 days.
before.
It is
meeting.
3 days,
Nothing
okay.
stated in the statute, but 3 days would be proper. Another requirement is there be at least one person here in the regular meeting forum. All of the testimony, all of the deliberations must be able to be seen and heard by everyone. So if you get a packed chambers and somebody can't hear it, not effective or see it. But it's much more broad, it can be used at any time. A meeting like tonight might not be possible with Don just giving notice today or shortly that way.
I was told at one time before on this, that say if you're at wherever you're at, you had to put a notice on your door that this was a public meeting.
That's not required under the newer statute. So it's more broadly available.
Yep.
It just has to be seen and heard as opposed to heard previously, and doesn't require a pandemic or other health situation.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Kressel?
Aye.
Platt?
Aye.
Van Bratton?
Aye.
Melby?
Aye.
Jurdy?
Aye.
Erickson?
Aye.
Briggs?
Aye.
Cavalier?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 8.02 is a resolution to elect the standard allowance available under the revenue loss provision of the coronavirus local physical recovery fund established under the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Christie. Discussion. Ryan, would you be willing to give us just a little brief update with this, please?
The ARPA fund guidelines, when they came out, there was a provision in there for lost revenue, since a lot of the facilities that a city operates, our park and rec programs that we had, and the arena, our swimming pool, they came out with a calculator that we could use to plug in our numbers of what our revenue was, and it's an average that was done over the past 5 years, and then they take that times a formula of 4.1%, I believe it was, and then that allows us to take that dollar amount, I believe it's in front of you, that we can take towards our lost revenue on those items.
Thank you, Ryan.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The number that you see on the resolution, $673,684, is not additional monies, but it's the part of the pool of the approximately $800,000 that the city will be receiving in ARPA funds. It just allows us to move that to more general revenues instead of being restricted then to some of the categories that we've discussed before that include wastewater and some water infrastructure.
Sure.
Thank you, Amy. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Kressel?
Aye.
Platt?
Aye.
Van Bratton?
Aye.
Melby?
Aye.
Jurdy?
Aye.
Erickson?
Aye.
Briggs?
Aye.
Cavalier?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 8.03 is a resolution to approve the formal acceptance of the resignation from City Administrator Amy Finch.
Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second?
Reluctantly, yes.
Discussion. I guess I did get the formal letter from Amy about her resignation, and I guess I did hand it back to Amy to see if it goes into, not that she's gonna deny it, but, so it goes into, I think her personal file, so she's gonna ask Tina. I didn't know if the letter was just FYI for me, or, so I brought it back down here to go into Amy's file, so.
We all received that electronically as well, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bedbrenton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Motion carries. We need a couple minutes to,
I just got a message from her. She is getting logged on now.
okay, should I
From
do the formality and just wait?
I think probably if you want to have Ashley read it, I'll bet she'll be on soon. Chad,
Okay.
can you watch for Liza to log on to Zoom?
I will.
Thank you.
All right. Item 8.04 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to engage in DDA Human Resources to begin the search for a new city administrator.
Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Don, seconded.
Yes.
Okay, discussion. I think you're all well aware that we went with David Drone and Associates last time. There was a clause in there that if our city administrator left within a 2-year period, that they would do another research for a new city administrator. At really no cost, but I mean, there will be some costs regarding her travel time and lodgings. So I think the number that was thrown out there roughly is around $4,000.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I could just ask, did everyone have a chance to read your emailed materials today? Okay, as soon as Liza gets logged on, I think she's on? Okay.
Okay. Also, the letter that Liza sent out today, the proposal, and in summary, she had items to review and approve for February 14th council meeting includes the following: that DDA to conduct a second search with additional expenses. The city to contact the lead to conduct a workshop on city charter. Position profile, review and approve. The salary, review and approve. And then finally, the timeline, review and approve, and kind of look at the dates in the yellow. So I would like to get input from council, but I think the items that she wants, I don't think it's a bad idea to follow every one of them. I do think the council getting a little 101, a refresher course regarding the city charter, I don't think it's a bad idea. I guess I have kind of kicked that idea around, kicked it around a little bit to see, you know, I haven't brought it up to council, but just, I think, a little refresher course on what the charter is, what's kind of council's role with the charter. The position and profile, the review, I think it hasn't changed much from the last time. I think it's pretty much spot on, the one we put out last time. The question really beforehand is reviewing and approving, you know, kind of the range with salary.
I think we had a lot of discussion on that the first round there with the salary, that it was low then, we thought, but that's not what we had budgeted for at the time. So I mean, I think, you know, look at that pretty hard to see where we can go with it and what we can afford, I guess, too. But, you know, that was a big discussion when we hired Amy about the salary, but we said we didn't have a budget. We already had the budget session going and done, and same, no difference with this, but, you know, I don't know what funds are available, I guess, you know, what Amy can figure out with that, or Ryan, but I think it's something we need to look at hard and, you know, stick a neck out a little bit, I guess, because the rates that I looked through in the last couple of days of what other administrators are getting, you know, we are definitely under what everybody else is.
I agree with you, Steve. I think too, you know, that's to get the most qualified city administrator or the candidate pools to apply for a city administrator. I think salary plays a big part in it. I think we're gonna get a better selection of candidates in the salary range that Liza has proposed.
I agree with both of you, boy, men, council and the mayor, yes, we should really take a serious look at that. And I agree that we need to do something a little bit different in the future.
I would also agree. I think being competitive in this regard, to finding the best candidate, this is probably our best step forward. So,
You gotta remember, it's a salary range.
Right.
So, you know, you're not locked into anything, and it goes by experience, goes by qualifications, all that. It says, yeah, you can up your range, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily,
hang them high.
yeah.
Right, right.
I think we're just gonna find a better applicant pool at
Yeah.
this range.
Just more attractive.
Versus the one we did when Amy was hired. No offense, Amy.
I was just gonna say,
I want to say thank you for digging that up and finding that thing with having that clause in there about having 2 years or whatever, because like I said, the money we spent the first round, and I think $4,000 for it to do it again is a gift, you know, and thank you for finding that. 'Cause
And I just feel that David Drone and Associates, Liza did a wonderful job. She did her homework on the city, on council, you know, what we were looking for, what department heads were looking for. And she's familiar with the city of Crookston, so I don't think it's really a no-brainer not to go with David Drone and Associates again.
yeah.
Yes,
So, we comfortable with, welcome Liza.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
We comfortable with what the items that she is recommending?
You're saying that
Yes.
this is just, the salary range is depending on experience and all that kind of stuff?
Well, the salary range is, you know, the 101.76 or 131.
Right.
And I think, like I just was saying, I think, you know, to attract the best candidates, I think we need to be in that range. I think you get under 100,000, you're not gonna get the quality of candidates.
No, but I guess myself, I'd like to have stayed no more than 125, but it's, you know, another
That's a discussion.
$6,000, so I mean,
That's a discussion we have once we find a candidate. It's-
Right.
it's-
Right.
It has to do with,
I think we're just looking for the attractive offer
Yep.
to get the best qualified candidates to apply.
well, you also better be willing to spend that much too, because if somebody comes along and says, well, I want that, and you want that person,
Well, that's where you
like
negotiate.
Steve was saying too, can we afford it? You know,
Yeah.
that's to be negotiated in the future.
I guess, you know, that,
Mr. Mayor, I would say as far as affording it, you have a budget set now that has a salary in it. And I think if you needed to consider reserves for 1 year or something, that is perfectly acceptable. And the general fund does have a healthy enough reserve if you needed to make up 10 to 20,000. I think you would be perfectly fine in doing that. Your reserve fund is healthy, so just to throw that out, I think that is something you could work with, and Ryan could certainly provide that information for you if you reach that decision and are looking at the top end of the range.
I mean, look at that, it's 9,000 tops. I mean, the worst case scenario, I mean, we should be able to scrape that up somewhere if we needed it.
Exactly.
okay, the last item on this was the timeline, and I guess this would be for Liza, if she would, kinda tweak the April 27, 2022 special meeting, if that could be moved like after the,
Were you thinking May 2nd?
right, because I know from the 24th to the 30th, I will not be in town. And I'm not sure, I think, Christie, where were you guys?
If we had moved it any earlier, I would be in LA.
Okay,
So I think it might make us most sense to do May 2nd for the interviews, and then maybe May 5th or something of that nature, so we're not pushing the timeline back too far if we're wanting a start date in June.
is that doable, Liza?
It is. I have it open and yes, and I think that's a great day to have it on because your candidates can come in on Sunday, spend some time in your community, and then they're all there all day on Monday with interviews. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're changing those two, the 27th to May 2nd.
Correct. She'll send us another timeline that's kind of etched in stone. It was, she would like to get this out, if we approve it tonight, she'd like to get this out as soon as possible. I think she
So-
was ready to post it Friday, is what I'm hearing, maybe.
So,
that-
Mr. Mayor, can I just confirm then, would May 2nd then be the interviews, and then the offer and agree would be May 5th? Is that too fast of a timeline?
So let me just make sure. Okay, so May 2nd would be your interviews. You would be entering into discussion and deliberation that very afternoon, evening. And then that would give me, a week to work through negotiations. And the end game is by your May 9th meeting. Is that a regular council meeting night? That's when we would be approving the agreement. So that's what I'd be pushing for. And no, it generally comes together fairly well. So I don't see that being an issue.
Okay? So we'll go with May 2nd
May 5th.
and May 5th.
May 9th.
May 9th.
May 9th.
May 9th.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? Can I have roll call, please?
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bed Brunton,
Aye.
Melby,
All right?
Dirty,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
All right.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Item-
So, Mr. Mayor, when, will you try to get the league to come in like on a normal council meeting? Is that what the plan is, or what are your thoughts?
I guess we could see when they're available. I'd rather set it up sooner than later.
Yeah.
I could sit down with Amy and have them reached out, see what their timeline is. I mean, we could even have it, doesn't really have to be on a council night.
No, I mean, I'm just
Right.
asking, yeah.
So,
I mean, would it be, do they have a schedule that it wouldn't permit, their time wouldn't permit to come later at night, or would it have to be during the day probably, or?
I'm not sure. I will ask those questions and try to get some options out to you. If they could come maybe during a Ways and Means time, that might work if everyone's already convened, but I'll reach out and ask if they have certain times of day.
Do we know if they are traveling and going with,
I don't know that.
so it's quite possible it could be a Zoom type
I
of,
would rather not have Zoom.
me also, but I'm just wondering if they're not providing that out in the communities now.
I mean, if that's the worst case scenario, we don't have a choice, but I think in person's better. I guess,
I would agree with you,
Right.
Delane.
You could put slots in the afternoon and slots in the evening and let them pick what works better from them.
I'm just wondering if we have it after a council meeting, say Ways and Means, if it's gonna get too long, I'd rather just have an off council night to.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it worked pretty
it
good
might,
last time.
I don't know how long it takes to go through that, but
What was the last session, like 3 hours or so? 3,
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, maybe
Well,
enough night then.
after a
Not
council meeting
cancel.
would get to be pretty
right,
lengthy.
I
Yeah.
think we try to figure it off night, and I mean, I think, let's just see if Amy can find some dates and we can figure it out what works for us then.
I will reach out and ask those questions and try to get something back to you, and then we can check availability and try to get something scheduled.
And then Steve, you were gone the 28th of this month, correct?
Through the 3rd, yeah.
Okay,
What month of February?
Yeah, I have some absent times too, but I can let you know later, but.
okay.
Would it be beneficial for us to share if we know something coming up?
That would help me, and then I
Okay.
can at least kind of not offer those up, or let them know that we have conflicts on those dates. Yeah, if you can just
So
send
maybe
that
for
to me.
February and March?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
We say by Friday would be is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Delane, Christie. So, good point, Delane. All right, one more item.
Item 8.05 is to discuss the search for an interim city administrator, Your Honor.
I guess, this is, just kind of discussion only. I thought I would bring it up and we can have, a couple weeks to kick it around to see what option that council's in favor of moving. I guess I'm kind of on the fence with this, but I'm leaning towards not having an interim, and my reasoning is that we kind of looked in it in the past, and they wanted an awful lot of money. And then you got a few, the ones we did talk to, they only wanted to be here 2-3 days a week. And then you gotta figure out a salary for them, and in lodging. And I guess, what are they gonna do? I guess our budget has been set. And our department heads, they're very frugal on what they have spent. I've seen that over the years. And I am very comfortable with our department heads. Just moving forward, kind of day to day is what we are doing without an interim. Amy brought, can you fill in on that? Right.
Yes. So we did meet department heads with the mayor, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, 1 week ago?
Yeah,
Seems
somewhere.
like a long time, but, and department heads just shared some of their thoughts, concerns, hopes, all those things about, mainly being able to carry on day-to-day functions and how we keep that, what does that look like, especially in the absence of an interim administrator? And I think, before I read this to you, logistically, I think there's some things you could do to have department heads carry on with some temporary spending limits, with some people working together. I do think one of the things that you will be missing without an interim is someone that can kind of be your point person and leading your meetings. I would recommend you consider an interim, but I think there's creative ways to do that. So keep in mind that you decide what you're looking for when you're looking for an interim, and maybe you just want someone that's here a few days before your meeting and a few days after, and then is available remotely to you, but you determine what that package looks like, and then you advertise for that. And then there's a list of names that the League of Cities provides of people that are interested in serving as interims that you negotiate with. So you're not locked into, there's not one set thing you have to do. You have some flexibility in how that looks for you. But I do think there's some pieces that you might miss not having someone. As far as salary, I think that would depend on your person and how often you want them here, if they're available remotely. But one of the things that I think is what I'm gonna read to you here is a proposal that department heads really came up with in discussion with myself. And this is something that's really bare minimum to keep things going. That would be assigning some interim co-administrator signing authority to keep your normal things going. Anything that falls between that 5,000 and 10,000 and budgeted items that would normally fall to your administrator, which was approved in 2021. We had some discussion about how that looks, and what we ended up with was Lieutenant Selsler and Ryan Lintweed, who's finance director, which makes a lot of sense because he's involved with every budget and every department, signing off together on any items that exceed what a department head spending limit of 5,000 would be. And then also including a third person. If it was a Parks and Rec item, then that Parks and Rec director would be included on that also. Anything that would normally come before you that is an unexpected expense that falls outside of the budget, outside of that spending authority, would still come before you by resolution. Other suggestion, at least for some guidance during meetings, is being able to sit the city attorney at the conference table. There's a microphone available that can at least be readily available to answer questions or provide guidance during a meeting. Otherwise, you won't have someone sitting here, so that may be something that you're gonna miss, or your point person, so just some things to think about.
Thank you.
So, we still will have a gap in salary from when Amy is done until we have a, new administrator come on, which we already have that budgeted,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
So it's really almost not additional unless the person is asking for a lot more than what we normally pay, I guess. Is that fair, or?
Well, I can't remember what the cost was, but I mean, the list I've seen, you know, they're traveling quite a distance. So I'm sure there's, you know,
I mean, can we,
maybe I'm penny pitching here, but, I mean, there's a salary and then you probably got mileage, lodging.
I mean,
Not sure what else
would
that
it
would
be
be.
worthwhile just to see what's out there? And I mean,
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'd like to see some cost first. I'm very concerned about not having any type of leadership, even for a 3-month period, just because I feel like, you know, the city's kind of finally righting the ship, whether it's finances or just how we've proceeded with ordinances and things of that nature. And I don't want this to be another mess for somebody to walk into and have to clean up. And at the end of the day, you know, is worth saving a couple $1,000s worth that. And I also have concerns about the departments being supported like they should be. And, you know, you get people that come into council or come into the city asking or demanding or doing those things. And I think there needs to be some leadership there that supports those departments as well. So I think I'd really like to see us, find out what the opportunities are. But I think that, you know, similarly to what Amy has said, I think, you know, with the rise of the remote work, there's a lot of opportunity for leadership that maybe saves us some money in constant travel cost and housing, but maybe can still provide us at least that direction needed in the 3 months until we're able to get somebody that's officially cemented in that position.
How many, Mr. Mayor, how many days or how many months will we have empty to run on our own
Well, it's,
people?
4
It-
months.
What do we,
about 3.
well, 3 months?
March.
And that's also,
That all depends on if we accept one of the ones that come up with, too, so it could be longer, too.
I mean, that even more reason for us to have somebody in that position.
I just think,
Interim.
I agree with Chris, well, a couple of you guys there, because I think it's, you need a step point person, you really do. I mean, you gotta have somebody to make that final decision. And, you know, whether, unless it's the mayor, you would wanna sit in there, or whatever, I'd be all for that, but it's putting a lot of pressure on one person, I think, to, you know, to have that lead person that says, all right, this is, I got the final say here, this is what we're gonna do.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we, none of us on the council or the mayor can be a person according to our charter, correct?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm getting a nod from the city attorney in the back.
Right.
I guess, Your Honor, one of the things that I'd look at, though, is, as Amy said, we've got five new department heads. So it's not like the, you know, back a few years ago here where everybody been locked in for so long and they knew where they were going. There's a lot of questions that could come up, and I don't, unless if Ryan felt that he was comfortable with that, and if, you know, Seltzer is too. I mean, I don't have a problem. I trust those guys in working with the committee there, that they could handle that. I think they could for that amount of time, but it's just, it might be some pressure with the being such short time on some of those.
If I could just interject, I don't think it's a matter of, the department heads have their budget set and I think are working really, really well as a team. I think probably better than we have seen the department head team work from feedback I've received, I'm gonna say ever. I think so when you have an interim administrator, they don't know the departments and the budgets and the ongoing day-to-day activities, the planned expenses like your department heads do. I don't think, in my opinion, it's one or the other. I think each piece of that is serving something really important. Your department heads are certainly going to assist someone that's only serving you in a leadership position, being the point person, guiding your meetings. They're certainly going to still carry that heavy load on.
So, I'm sorry.
No, that's
were you
okay.
done?
Go ahead.
Is there a department meeting or a department head that we could? I mean, is that
We discussed that, and I will tell you, I don't believe any one of them were really jumping for joy to sit up here and carry that, for a number of reasons.
Just for, think outside the box, has anybody contacted any of the older people that worked for the city many years to see if they'd be interested in filling that role for 3 months or 4 months?
No,
or-
because I would not do that without direction from the council to do so.
So I don't know if I'm just throwing ideas out there.
I don't,
but,
no one has reached out to me.
I do wonder if that's maybe the best idea, just if maybe we're heading in a different direction. You know what I mean? Like, just because they did it a certain way a while ago, is that really the direction we're heading? So I guess I would be a little bit hesitant to consider that.
Yeah,
But
I would too. I would.
That's my other concern with somebody coming in here with no experience or know nothing about the city either. Are they gonna do us justice for 3 months either? I mean,
Yeah, I guess I think that maybe, if anything, we just need some direction and some structure
Well,
as far as meetings and things of that nature.
Right on. They come in, I guess, I get it for a point person, but I mean, they're gonna, really looking for direction from our department heads too. I mean,
I think it'll go both ways, absolutely. But
but-
whoever I'm sorry. I
but
was just
I
saying-
know, I got a list from the League of Minnesota. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, 9 to 12 names can reach out to. It's our job to reach out to these ones that are willing to step in and,
Mr. Mayor, I think before you do that, you ought to know as a body what you're looking for. Because I think that will help you understand what the cost may be. If you know if you want someone here as many days as possible on site, or if you can maybe get a little bit of a framework of what you'd be looking for, how often you'd like someone here. I think that will help you when you're communicating with someone, get a better idea on what
So I
cost
mean,
might be.
just my thoughts is, I mean, department heads, they know what they need to do their job, I'm thinking, so they don't really need the interim person to come in and maybe guide them to that extent. We just need somebody to be the, like you said, be the point person, and so maybe that's not a lot of time a week, or maybe it's just a few days a week. I mean, does anybody have a different thought on that?
Yeah, I think my biggest concern is just making sure that there's direction when direction's needed. I think that our department heads have what they need to have, but I think that there might be things that come up that are outside of normal things, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff, Amy, that you've had to then address that is maybe above where they feel comfortable making decisions. So that, and I think also keeping council together and having, our meeting agendas and things appropriately done. And I also think that we need to remember that, yes, these people might not have knowledge of our city, obviously, but they should be knowledgeable about running a city. And I think we do need somebody who has that knowledge to deal with the nuances that the city and the everyday running is. And I don't know if that necessarily needs to be every day, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity for remote in some of those questions or concerns. But I do think we need somebody to support the work that our departments and our city's doing.
Mr. Mayor, okay, it's 2 to 3 months, whatever, hopefully. I don't know anybody else that's more up to speed of what's going on than Mr. Reynolds. I mean, we've had him weighing in on everything we've done. He's been privy to everything. Is there some way maybe you could negotiate something with him? I'd be comfortable with him if you could do that. And let him.
He doesn't look comfortable.
I think
Amy, I have a question for you. Do you think that Ryan and Lieutenant Seltzer and would join Mr. Melby's position on this with our legal counsel? Do you think that the city could run that way?
If you
Amy?
had agreement from all parties on responsibilities and roles, I think unless there is a conflict, and I would have to ask the city attorney about that. And then certainly they would have to agree, but
Okay, very good, yeah.
Does the city attorney have anything to say about that?
not to put you on the spot.
I want what's best for the city, okay? Councilman Melby is correct, I have been involved substantially.
Corky. Can you go to the microphone, please, so that
Yes, please.
our
Yes,
virtual
please.
members can hear you? Thank you.
Can't hear
Tammy
you.
doesn't want the
Sorry.
microphone.
I don't think there's an inherent conflict, certainly not something I had sought, but I want the city to progress as much as possible, as quickly as possible. It's certainly something, geez. I
You don't
would,
gotta do it today, but just.
I would think about it, yes, certainly.
Yeah.
I would. I want us to proceed effectively and efficiently. I think an interim is probably, in my opinion, the best situation, but if that's not the way you want to go, certainly, I think I would seriously consider it.
Very good.
So I'm thinking at this point, feeding off Amy here, is that I guess we come back in 2 weeks and see what we're looking for as far as duties or whatever in for the
I mean, is
interim.
it possible within that 2 weeks to see, so, I mean, how does it work? Do you reach out to them and since they're on this list, they have to, or they
They
can
could say
obviously
no,
say
they
no.
could say, where's Crookston? It's,
Right,
it-
but they can,
it's a lot of
decline,
them
I would
from,
assume.
I think, Twin Cities area, central Minnesota. I can't remember, I was just looking real quick at it, and they got some travel time.
Have these guys been interns before?
Most of them have served as prior city managers and city administrators. Some of them are retired. And the list does show you where their permanent positions were, and then also shows you where they've served as interim. I think it includes population.
I mean,
So I'm just looking at it, we put something together, and how often do we want this person here? How many
I
days
think
a
you
week?
sitting down with Amy, figuring that out, how much time do you think it would take for her to say, I think I
Right.
get by 4 days a week, 3 days a week. She knows better than anybody what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
I would ask you, what would your focus be? Is it really kind of meeting guidance? I do believe that your department heads can carry on effectively with their day-to-day. They do have access to the city attorney for questions. Those things aren't really the concern. My concern really was your gap that you'd have in like your agenda items.
You have to also kind of see what whoever the person is too, what they really want too, if they want a 5-day-a-week deal or if they
Well,
want
it's your, I would say you do not let someone tell you what you need. You advertise or put something together with what you're looking for and then try to find someone that best matches that. Because they may want 5 days a week, but if you want 4 days, 2 days before and 2 days after a meeting and then virtual access, you have some flexibility on how that can look.
Then if it's some kind of a quick need or something that happens and they're not here, and department heads can't answer that, that's where I kind of agree with what Wayne was saying. We would have the attorney who knows already the ongoings, what's happening in the city, and could answer those quicker than if somebody's only here 2 days a week, or, pay somebody virtually that's, maybe it's a complaint, uncomfortable complaint that not to use Zoom, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's issues that way too now with the travel time and all that, keeping people here like Mr. Mayor was saying. But I kind of agree with what Wayne was saying, that keep the knit close that already knows what's going on and run it that way, I think might be okay. It's only for a few months. I think the city can run just fine that way, but
So Amy,
I agree with you, Joe, that that probably would be one of the better decisions of our council. Because these people know the city, and we can move forward without having a lot of disruption.
I do wonder if we need to have a plan B, because I think this is also reliant on those 3 individuals agreeing and feeling that they have the bandwidth, to do it and feel comfortable doing that.
I will allow them to speak for themselves if they think I am misrepresenting this, but we did discuss at department head, and the 2 staff members have already agreed that they would be willing to serve in that capacity as far as the spending limits and those types of things.
So are we looking just for someone to sit here on council nights, or, and that's the way I
Well,
sometimes
I think
think.
that is certainly part of it, but you've got agenda preparation, you do have some items that are escalated, and let's be honest, there are some people that don't want the answer that they're given, whether it's right or wrong, and want to talk to someone else, and that's just a reality.
It's kind of what I was bringing up to
Yeah.
somebody to talk to day to day. If they
Right.
want 2 days a week and that day they come in, there's nobody there for them to talk to.
Right, and it's
know,
a
so it's-
person that's also responsible to keep this body informed. And that's, each department head could keep you informed about their particular items. That's a lot coming at you. I think having a point person and knowing who to watch for things from would be useful for you, and
I think we need an interim and, I mean, minimum, 3 days a week. I mean, just from hearing Corky's response, I think he would do it, but I think at the end of the day, he really would rather have an interim, which I
You know, intern
understand,
with
and I
him,
think we.
with Corky and the department
with
heads, I
Corky.
think would be a good connection. I mean,
Right.
you got
Corky
everything
would
covered.
still be,
I mean, we gotta look, I don't wanna spend taxpayer money either, but at the end of the day, we gotta do what's best for the city, as Courtney
Right.
said. And I think the only way we're gonna do that and get the best bang for the buck is to spend the money, get an intern out here as a lead guy.
Yeah.
He's got our city attorney, he's got a department heads that know what's going on. He's just a point guy that can work with the mayor and keep us informed. I think that's the best way to go with that.
Yeah.
Even like with us, our charter says we're not supposed to go to the department heads when we have an issue, so say a constituent calls you up, who do we go to?
Right,
Yeah,
which
and
is
that-
the need for the point person.
right, it does get a little bit messy, and it's hard for them to do their daily duties if they have multiple people coming, especially if it's the same topic or same issue.
Right.
I am not here to make a decision for you, but I think,
Well, it's discussion tonight, I mean, I can sit down with Amy and we can put together a game plan. Amy's here a while yet. I mean, granted, we gotta get the ball rolling, but,
But maybe if you could check on those interims that are listed, if you see
right,
one.
exactly.
Check with Corky, see what he's got, and then check again with these guys and see what, Ryan and,
Yeah, and I just will bring it back in 2 weeks, next
I,
council
I
meeting.
think the other thing to think about is even if we only have somebody who's here 1 day or 2 days a week, or right before meeting or right after the meeting, they could be accessible by phone and by Zoom. So a lot of those questions can be answered and direction can be given as support, even if they're not here physically. So just thinking about that in like the cost of travel and things of that nature, that just because they're not here does not mean that they can't provide direction or support or answer those questions or become that point person. So just as we're considering those things.
I
being
think,
physically
I
here
think
don't
Ashley
make
also would be a big part of this, that she makes up all the agendas and so forth, so she would, certainly needs to be involved. Ashley,
yes,
Ashley,
she's not off the hook for agendas. She has to keep doing that.
right.
I agree with what Wayne said. I think that, Cork has been working side by side with Amy ever since Amy arrived, and I think that, he knows what her goals are at this point, and I just see that I would be in favor of that, Mr. Reynolds would be used at this point.
Well, it's, our city attorney's
Yeah,
decision.
so-
right
yeah,
now.
assuming he wants to do it.
right.
He's
No,
gonna
I'm,
think-
yeah, I'm basing it on that.
Yeah.
Right.
He's gonna think about it, like I say, I guess we got marching orders here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll
that's
figure
an
out a
option,
game
yeah.
Plan and bring it back in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
That
All right,
sounds good.
thank you. A lot of input. Reports, Amy.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I really just want to say, thank you for the opportunity to serve the Crookston community, and I've said it before, and I really do mean this. I'm really proud to serve with our group of staff that shows their dedication and commitment to the citizens of this community every day. They do things that, people don't even see. They work hard, they are coming up with ideas, they're listening to your priorities, they're listening to things that they're hearing in the survey and what the public is saying, and working hard to put things together to bring forward to you or implement that are really gonna make Crookston better. We have been conducting, Robert and I, listening sessions with outside groups. Our hope, we're continuing that. The goal then was to narrow down some focuses on what those groups and some of our community leaders viewed as priorities or the main issues to bring back to you for some guided conversation and strategic planning. So the listening sessions will continue. I think it would be most appropriate to allow your new administrator to work through those strategic planning sessions with you. But we will continue to gather that data. That part doesn't change. That doesn't have to stop now, where then Robert can start sorting through that. And some common themes have emerged that will come before you for discussion. But, you know, I would encourage, I've said this before also, that community members, community leaders, create breathing room for new people to have new ideas and do things differently and be welcoming. I've been a new citizen here, and I think there's many opportunities to be a little bit more welcoming community-wide. I'm gonna give you an example. I came and I saw on Facebook about ox cart buttons, and I had no idea what that was. I thought it was just a little souvenir, and I asked Tina, and I didn't realize it was something you had to buy to get in to events. So just not always assuming that everyone was born and raised here and knows everything, and, you know, try to pull people in and include them. For those of you that are elected now, for people that may hope to run in the next election, it's a big one. There's, you know, five seats on the ballot. On our website is our charter. It's important to read that and understand it. You'll be asked to take an oath to uphold that. It's our city's constitution. I'm available to help anyone get to that, but it's important. The city's charter is not something that any one of us have the authority to pick and choose what parts we uphold, what parts we believe in. There's a long and tedious process to change that and adopt it. And while I will be back in Kansas in a couple of months, I really want the very best for this community, and I have worked very hard. I have worked through some very hard situations, and I have worked with some very tough people. And thank you to those people that were tough on me and gentle on me for teaching me things and helping shape me in a way I could not have predicted that Crookston would have done for me. So I commit to you that I will continue to work hard and be dedicated to my role in the community until my last day here. I will make sure that department heads are able to call if there's a question after that. I don't want anything bad or tough for this community. I hope that we will continue to see progress and not stall. Anything that stalls now, I think, will be really tough for someone new to come in, pick everything up off the floor and try to determine what's most important. So just want to encourage everyone to try to keep rolling along, even if some things might be slowed down a little bit. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and carrying out the day-to-day business. We have a really fantastic team of department heads. Every one of us up here should be really proud and thankful that we have these people working for us and our citizens. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Amy. Start with Jake tonight. Got him off guard.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Just a couple updates. The parks crew has been very busy. A lot of snow, a lot of moving around. We've had a couple machines break down, so if you hear anything about sidewalks or anything like that, just let me know or Amy know, and I'll get on it. We're just kind of behind a little bit now with the last little snow that we got. Like I said, a couple things have broken down. We're getting fixed, but they've been really busy and they've been doing a great job. So kudos to them. The pool has been up and running. Been over there almost every day, just checking temperatures, checking numbers, and things seem to be running smoothly now. So hopefully that building stays in one piece for a while. Myself, I'm still getting ready for summer. Just sent out emails today for our baseball and softball programs and just trying to get a number of where we're at with kids and participants, for just a couple programs now. I'm gonna keep working my way through numbers from last year and figuring out who's coming back and who's moving up and all that stuff. Ordering, equipment, just getting ready. I sent out a job posting today to Crookston Times and, KROX, just some summer seasonal stuff that we need help with. So, if you know of anyone looking for a great fun summer job, send them my way or her my way. And Wednesdays, we're just keep trucking along, right, Chad? Wednesdays of Active Network, learning a lot, typically a 3 to 6 hour meeting every day with our new software, and the lady that we're working with is great. She's very kind and humble and she teaches well. So Chad's been doing that along with myself and Andrea right now. So we're gonna be getting into the financials, I believe this week or next week. So I'm really hoping that we're gonna be ready to go come spring with that. So any questions?
Since the pool opened, has the attendance been pretty good?
Yes, it's been good. I don't have a number for you, but I know it's been busy. Our lifeguards have been great. Our pool supervisor, she's doing a great job on the administration side. So it's afloat and it's running well. So,
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Favorite thing I heard there was summer.
It's gonna be summer where you're going, eh?
It's gonna be probably 70 degrees warmer than it was today.
Robert.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for letting me go second so we can all get our expectations lowered down where they need to be for this. The first thing I want to tell you about is we had a meeting with the Crookston Youth Basketball Association. It was a very productive meeting. They have really, they serve a lot of young people, and a lot of folks in this community and from the region, and they need to look at some plans to expand their service. And we had a very productive conversation with them, and we look forward to what their plans draw out for us. So it'd be a good project to work with. I got to spend a couple hours out at AURI. Every time I go out there, I've only been out there a couple of times, but every time I go out there, you learn something. I learn something. And that meeting led to another meeting immediately following where we spent 2 hours with Mr. Brian Bowl and his lime operation. And he is in a position where in a few weeks he's going to be able to start doing test runs. He has some product in that he's going to be able to send through his mills. There's some things that we're trying to do to help him, and that's going to lead to a meeting tomorrow. I think some folks from MD are going to be down here to meet with him, and we'll see if we can't help him out a bit. And the last part is Ag Innovations. It's always good to hear from Mr. Jim Lambert. He reported that they're anticipating to start construction in May. And we're excited. They made their orders. They spent some money, so they have some things lined up, and they're looking forward to getting some construction started this summer.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Greg, anything?
Yeah,
Hello, Mayor, City Council. Just along with that ag innovation, I've been talking to Jim Lambert regarding, he's gonna be talking to me this week on the future plans as far as the construction details. So just so you're aware of that, that's ongoing, and he's already asked me a few questions, but we'll put those on the plans themselves. So we'll be continually working with him on that. I do have a planning committee meeting that's coming up in early March. I need to coordinate with the planning commission because it's a special meeting. We're trying to meet deadlines for a reconveyance of land that was given back to the state last year, and it's basically on South Main and Crescent Street, so just so you're aware of that. And it will be coming before the council after the planning commission if they approve that, so just so you're aware of that. And there's a due date again for to get that done, so that's why the special meeting is occurring. Let's see, we did a steel inspection on New Flyer. That's about a The roofing is basically complete, the walls still need to be enclosed, and they had some difficulty with all the wind and weather conditions, so they're trying to catch up with that. I do have a commercial remodel that I'm reviewing right now, but I have not permitted that yet, but it will be soon coming, and I'll leave it at that. And that's about it. I think that's the main points I want to make.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
When you talked about the land thing, is anything going on with Mr. Herkenoff's deal that he wanted to get done too?
That I would defer to Amy on.
What deal are you speaking
Well,
of?
he wanted to get that pond done.
Well, we are working on it, yes, but we have to understand the insurance. We have some insurance, signage, access, so yes, we are working through some of that.
And that was supposed to go to the planning commission too, wasn't it?
Did you read the letter that it will have to, but yes.
That's what
And
I
then,
thought when he said land.
yeah, no, and then determining costs, if the cost, depending on what is needed to maintain equipment, those things, if there's cost, your earliest opportunity would be development, excuse me, of your 2023 budget. But we haven't reached that yet, so we are trying to understand all of those aspects and what our liability would be. And, you know, the development agreement does say that it would be conveyed to the city as a park within 20 years or upon the death of Mr. Herkenoff. We were not expecting it quite so quickly after the first one, so we are just needing to do some work and make sure we understand all of that. There's a portion of the pond that would remain private. That adds a few little, on the end near Mr. Herkenoff's house, that would not be conveyed. There's a piece of water that would not be ours. So there's some interesting challenges to work through to make sure we understand how do you block that part of the trail as private access, those types of things.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Brandon?
So the water treatment filter rehab, I believe they filled the second one today. So once that passes bacteria samples, they'll both be back in line and that job should be complete. Me and Ashley have been working on the 2022 street assessments, so I believe we mailed out those notices. So we'll be doing 1st Avenue North, 2nd Avenue North, Sunflower, and a block on South Washington. So these are all local jobs. So anybody that's will be assessed on those jobs received a letter Friday, I believe, or Monday possibly, maybe today. I don't know. I don't really need to talk about snow every time we get caught up at the snows again. So, but I guess one comment I have is it's encouraging all the questions for Amy tonight. You know, she's super invested in our success in the transition. She's probably more concerned about what's going to happen to Crookston when she's gone than I guess I could say I probably would ever be. So thank you, Amy, and I appreciate you guys having confidence in her too.
Thanks, Brandon. Chad?
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me push the right buttons here. As Jake mentioned, our active.net conversion is going well. We have now no less than 3 simultaneous conversions underway. Our Office 365 migration is about 75% complete, with only the police department remaining for Office software install. And we will be going live with our email within a week to a week and a half time frame. So that is nearing completion. And our new website, we had our kickoff meeting for that. An implementer has been assigned, and we are targeting a go live of July 27th for the new site. So our next steps are to form an internal task force comprised of individuals from each department to represent the material that'll be on the site for across the city. And I'll just echo Brandon's comments. Amy has done a fantastic job in supporting us as department heads and helping us do our jobs across the city. So she will be missed.
All
right, thank you. Brian?
I'd like to start, I guess, by congratulating Amy. It's going to be sad to see her go. I felt that she's been a great mentor for me with this position, and I wish her all the best. Had a meeting with the chamber and kind of went through what they offer in town and got to learn a lot more about them and different opportunities that they provide, and going to be looking at trying to see about getting them a grant to help with them. Been doing some training with Monica Fallon, who was our HR specialist. With her absence, it's going to be a little bit more of my time, keying in time cards and learning more of that. But she's been great for training, and Kathy's also been very helpful with that also. We have been reviewing budgets with the department heads as far as our year-end entries are coming up. And with the year-end stuff, we've already began with Brady Martz, what needs to be done with that. Our dates are set in April for the auditors to come to the office for that week. Been reviewing the upcoming stuff for GASB 75 reporting. That census will be due in probably another month here, so that will be done. And still kind of reviewing a few more things with the ARPA stuff as far as wastewater and that. And that's really about all I have. And then also with the Active Network, there's a few more things this week that I have to sign off on for financial purposes and how it's going to all work in our accounting system.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Tim?
Thank you, Your Honor. With the snow piles getting higher and higher along the roads, our focus kind of turns towards the spring flood or spring runoff that we're going to get, and hopefully spring does show up one of these days. Been in a couple of briefings from the National Weather Service. They had one on January 27th and another one on February 10th. And in that short time, they raised our predicted levels about 3 feet. We're still not in any really danger, so to say, but I usually run off on the 50 percentile of what they're predicting. And they're saying we're going to be just a little bit over 20 feet right now, which is not going to cause us any problems. But then again, that takes into account for any normal precipitation that we would get. But they're saying it's supposed to be a little bit wetter spring than normal, and that doesn't take into account if we have any, big rains or, of our big wild card around Crookston is the ice dams. But we'll deal with that as it comes, and I'll just kind of keep you posted on how things are changing. And we'll probably be starting some emergency operations center training with a lot of our new department heads. Last year, or a couple of years ago, we had guys that have been around for years and years and years, and now we got a bunch of new guys that we'll train in, and they'll do just fine, so nothing to worry about there. But I'll keep you posted on how things go along. Also been working with Jake and Scott Butt a little bit. They've been, the Polk County Public Health is using their facility to do some COVID testing out there. It's a no-cost rapid antigen testing site out at the CSC. They're doing it on the Tuesdays. The next 3 Tuesdays, they're doing some free testing out there if anybody needs to get tested. Their hours are from 8 to 10:45 every day on those Tuesdays. I keep thinking it's every day like was last time, but it is only on Tuesdays. They say registration is not required but preferred. I guess you can just go out there and get tested if need be. And the last thing is I'd like to congratulate Bob Hoyseth for, he was our last hydrant hero. He's been doing a great job on keeping some of our hydrants open, and he's been doing an excellent job, been doing it for years and years and years, and it's nice to see him get a little recognition for that. And I guess my very last thing is I'd just like to thank Amy for everything she's done, and definitely pulled all of the department heads into a pretty tight-knit group, and she'll be missed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. So do I pick on Paul or Darren? I'm not sure which one comes up here.
Fighting about it.
Still here, kind of like
How much long?
just
how
never
many
seemed to
more-
go too far away.
One more council meeting?
Maybe. Maybe. Your Honor, Counsel. Few things, just to mention, the UTV, so the ordinance is done, the permit and application, the checklist for the inspection is done. Trying to come up with the right size sticker for the, put on the plate. I don't want anything too big. And then, what else was it on the UTV? The sticker?
The fee?
The fee. Very good. That's why you're the city administrator. Yeah, so we've got to set that too when we get around to the fee schedule stuff. So.
If I can interject, we are reviewing the fee schedule at department head level because there are some updates, so we'll show you that as one list with proposed updates and then discussion. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
And it is encouraging. We've had 2 phone calls looking for this already, so that's good. Good news. Hiring. So we're at 4, Darren, applicants currently right now? Yeah. So Darren, this past week, has really upped the game with advertising and doing what we can to reach out there a little bit farther. And just by chance, not necessarily through the advertising, but other methods, we've got 4 applicants that have submitted their papers and looks pretty promising. So that's exciting because we're still down and departments, the guys are getting tired. They really are. A lot of shift coverage to do, and I can't say enough about them, the whole department though, because they're doing what needs to be done, and they're doing a good job at it. Few different faces during the day now because we rebid shifts at the end of the year, so we've got a couple of the newer guys that are working a day shift right now, so it's nice to see that. Interviews, Darren is trying to get some interviews maybe set up this week or next week on those applicants, so we're really trying to work through them as fast as we can, but still do a good job at it. Deputy Chief, congratulations to Officer Nelson, was selected as the next Deputy Chief. And that's a title change from Lieutenant to Deputy Chief. And just real short on that, it's a title that is more appropriate to the position and the duties and responsibilities. And in some situations or circumstances, people won't talk to somebody lower than a second in command when making some of those higher level decisions. So we're glad to see that, which then that will cause a backfilling for his position, which kind of brings us all the way back to hiring again. So it just kind of goes around and around, but the transition also, Darren and I worked so closely together for 8 years that it almost seems like a seamless transition. There are some things we've been working on and getting through, and I've got all the confidence, and this goes back to the department head meetings in the team, like Amy was saying too. Working with every one of these department heads has really been a lot of fun for this last year and a half. We get things done, we share ideas, bounce things off, help each other out, and it's probably been the most fun for me in that regard since I have been chief. And with that, yeah, congratulations, Amy. And any questions?
How's Officer Rascott doing?
Oh, I was going to mention that too. He's doing well. And one of the other officers that had back surgery, he's back. Rascott, he'll be back a few more weeks. Yeah, doing well. Yeah.
How many openings are you trying to fill?
Right now, 2. In 2 weeks, it'll be 3.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one other thing and I can't remember. You distracted me. Yeah.
That don't take much.
Time to leave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't forget, let's start with, Councilmember Cavalier. Don, you got anything tonight?
Yeah, I do have a couple of things. I really want to thank Amy for all she's done for our city and for our departments. One of the things I think she did really well, and it really helped shape up our meetings, is to have the department heads give the reports and information that is very much needed by our council. So I want to thank her for that because it really improved our meetings, and also some of the questions that we have had, we got them answered during our council meetings. The other thing I think that she really has started on, but won't be able to finish here, is the corridor situation with MnDOT downtown, parking and all that kind of stuff. But she's got that going now, taking input from the city. And without that, we would be a little bit more behind. But yeah, she's just a good person. She's smart. She's very intelligent. She's taken and put us on the road to in the right direction. And I really would like to thank her a lot because I respect her. And Atchison is going to be very lucky to have her. Thank you, Amy, very much.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don. Start with Wayne, anything?
Congratulations, Amy, and keep praying for snow. Maybe it won't come.
Thanks, Wayne. Christie?
I don't have anything to report from my meetings, but I also want to thank Amy for all you've done. And, I was really hesitant about coming onto council, and I just feel that with your leadership and with just the way that we've worked together, I've really appreciated that, and I appreciate the choices you've made for department heads, and I just feel like this is a well-oiled machine, and I appreciate that, and I think that has something to do with your leadership, and I wish you the best going forward.
She's not gone yet.
Well, yes.
Thank you, Christie. Steve?
I'll say the same thing, or congratulations on your job, and we'll have many more discussions of that coming up, but, Brandon, with your, what you guys going through there, I mean, kudos to you. The city has been in very good shape considering how much snow we've had and the corners and different things that you gotta deal with, and, I know it's not an easy job, and I see them out there at night and mornings, and, I don't know where you're gonna put all the snow from here on out, but, keep the good work up.
Thanks, Steve. Clayton?
I'd just like to congratulate Amy on her new adventure and wish the best for you. And it's been an honor to work with you.
Thanks, Clayton. Joe?
Like everybody else is saying, congratulations. Good luck to you, Amy. It's been nice working with you. And I don't have any other report.
Thank you. Delane?
So, same thing, congratulations, Amy. We've had some big hurdles that we have overcome as a city, and I appreciate everything you've done. It's evident by the heads of the departments, they appreciate everything that you've done for them and the guidance, and yeah, it's too bad we don't get to have you for another few years, but I wish you luck, and yep.
Thanks, Delane. Tom?
Just congratulations, Amy, and good luck.
Thanks, Tom. Myself, I guess everything's been said, but I'd just kind of remind that, Amy is still a city administrator, and I know she's working very hard to get, I guess, her little house upstairs in order. And I know she is gonna make it a very smooth transition for us and the department heads moving forward. Also, this next few weeks is gonna be trying times for us. I just kinda wanna remind everybody, us council and department heads, that through this transition, we need to be a team and all try to be on the same page. And, we talked about, maybe having an interim going, Zoom and working from home. Why can't we pick on Amy when she's a few miles south and have her Zoom in Monday nights?
I'd have to check my contract, but I don't think it allows for it.
So, it's worth a shot. Anyway, thank you for all that you've done, Amy, and like I said, you haven't left yet, so I'm sure there'll be some more congratulations on your next endeavor. Thank you. we have a ways and means to follow, so if nothing else become before council, we are adjourned. Agenda tonight. And we have a presentation by the Golden Link. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We received on early January a letter from your city administrator requesting information about the Golden Link, and I can certainly understand you want to know where your city funding is going. One of the questions was to have a report for 2 years. So I refer you to the large printed handouts, about 4 pages long. This was our budget that we spent the city funds on in the year of 2021. I know she requested 2 years. 2020 is more difficult because it was a COVID year. We were closed 5 months of the year. So that information is more difficult to come up with. And you could just about basically take this times 2 for the 2 years. So that is one of the items. The second item was a detailed balance sheet. That is the other printout that says income and expense statement. And this would cover the balance sheet and the monthly expense reports for the fourth quarter of 2021 and also for 2020 on the following pages. And somehow we got the budget stuck in there for 2022. So you have pretty much everything that the city money is going for. But I want you to be careful that the city money coming in is we keep separate from the money that we make from our restaurant. And I think that's causing some consternation with some misunderstandings in the community and with the council. I'll explain that. If you would like to, perhaps refer to it says Crookston Area Seniors Association. This gives a quick synopsis of who we are and what we are. I don't think I need to read it to you, but basically we started in 1987. We are a 501c3, how many members we have. It also explains how many committees we have. And in 2020 and 2021, where we got our grants from. Again, those are separate from the City of Crookston funds. Some information about senior nutrition. Also information about our breakfasts and our dinners, along with the senior nutrition information. And our services that we provide seniors is the last paragraph. And that has several items in it that you can certainly read about. For myself, that would conclude my presentation unless you have, and certainly I'll entertain questions.
Could you tell us, I'm just looking at your payroll expenses going up, how many full-time and part-time employees, and has that changed quite a bit?
Okay, in the Crookston Senior Association, that one page, it's a third paragraph. It says we have about 300 members. The kitchen's licensed in the state of Minnesota, and we have 2 paid positions using city funds. The first is the manager, the second is the janitor. And as far as I know, that's by contract, originally with the city. However, we also provide pay for a full-time position to cook and 3 part-time positions through the profits we make in food sales in our restaurant. That money is separate from the money that is used for city funds. For the manager.
We also have one of the individuals from the DAC that works with us, one of the individuals from the community service that works with us, that are employed as part-time help.
Yeah, we also employ one from the DAC. Yeah, the dishwasher is a DAC person.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Can I just ask, because I know the initial question was about snow removal, but it looks like you guys are paying for snow removal in here too?
Right, we've taken care of that now. It was being supplied by the city for years and that. But right now, we have somebody that's gonna be picking up the collection, and we've talked to other, not employees,
To answer
clients
your
that we have.
question directly, because you asked for a quote, not a lump sum. And when we called one of the snow removal companies, they gave us an estimate of $175 an hour. Take about a half hour to do our lot. And they would also remove the snow at that same rate, so it could possibly be an hour or 2 hours. I couldn't give you an amount because who knows how much snow we get through the year. If we had a year like last year, it'd be less than what it would be this year. I did call the Regional Sanitation Service and for a collection for them to bring a truck in and pick up the bags like we have now. Nothing would change. It's $30 a month.
How much?
$30 a month.
So for the 2021, it says that you had contracted snow removal for $390 and then payroll snow removal for $240.
If I could interject, and I am the liaison down there, so I am in on the board meetings and stuff, but what that is the sidewalk on the north side of the building
And west.
and on the west side of the building.
Okay,
And what we were talking about, what the city does for them is the lot.
yeah, okay.
Christie, what did you see that in? I'm sorry.
Under the 2021 budget.
Okay, thank you.
And as you can see through all the committees and all the different people that are using our facility, it's really benefited the community. And what it's really benefit was the senior citizens, well, we call anybody from 55 and older, that it's a place for them to meet. And they've all been meeting, and we have different people, like one example is our sewing shop that we have here. 4 or 5 ladies, they volunteer, and I think it's twice a month they come in and they make bears for the VA hospital and for Riverview Hospital. And now they're making bags and pillows and that too. So they've been doing that. That's one of the benefits that we have there. So there's different things going on all the time that people aren't aware of.
Is there a membership cost or can
Right,
anybody
$20,
participate?
$20 a year for membership.
Per person.
I've been on the board, my name is Hank Koza, I live on 119 St. Paul Street. I've been on the board of directors this is my 3rd year. And it's really nice to see and to hear, actually to hear people say, you know, it's a very comfortable place for us to come, and we feel very welcome. It feels like a second home to us. And if I go back to my first year, I said to myself, I'm on the board of directors, what have I gotten myself into? It wasn't the best of things. And we've come out of, we come out of COVID, that was a tough stretch. This year, it's nice to see the amount of people that spend a good amount of time down there. I don't know, a rumor seems to be spreading that we get paid for certain activities. I teach cribbage to a group I have a beginners group and I have a experienced group. The prez here has the dubious honor of teaching a guitar class, of which he gives his time. See, we're doing this so that we can make, you know, all of you sitting in front of me are gonna be seniors if you're not already there. And think of this, a place that you could go and be welcome and feel at home. It's a great feeling. Thank you.
The food service deal, Lutheran Social Services. There are a lot of things to consider when we're doing this, so is that the amount that the seniors are receiving down there this year has been the same for, how many years has it been?
When I first became president in 2012, I've been president off and on since then. We received $72,000 from the city 10 years ago. We're at 78 now. So we're on a shoestring budget. Interesting, you had talked earlier about getting a new city administrator. And you were specifically talking about that you need funds to pay that person a decent wage so you get decent qualified people. I mean, when we hired a manager, I had 8 applicants and 4 of them walked out because I can't pay them anything. We don't have the funds. You know, we pay less than Walmart. I mean, we're lucky to have the manager we have. And so it's difficult. Our part-time positions make $10 an hour. I mean, we just don't have the funding. So, and I can't, I'm not here to blame anybody. I think there's been some miscommunication between the Golden Link and the city for some time. I'd like to patch that. And hopefully we can have a better understanding of each other. Wayne is on our board of directors, and I asked him if he'd be a liaison officer between us and the city, so perhaps with that we can open up some new dialogue, and maybe we could talk about in the future maybe some more funding.
Can I interject a question, please? How many of you sitting in front of us have been to the Golden? Yeah, that's great.
We appreciate it.
Rand, with the snow removal and garbage addition to your budget, where does that leave you financially? Does that strap you?
Well, if you notice,
I'm trying to look through that, but it really doesn't, I can't get it narrowed down to.
okay, if you notice the report in the large print, in the capitalized print, if you look at the last page, we're $205 in the hole. So what that leaves us with is whatever it's going to cost us to pay for the snow removal and the trash removal is going to be even more for us to be in the hole.
So can I just ask a question real quick?
Okay.
So you talked to facilities for trash and it's $30 a month?
Correct.
And then you were saying, what was the quote you got for
The
cleaning
quote I had gotten from a snow removal company was $175 per hour.
Okay.
His estimate was about a half hour to remove the snow,
Okay.
and probably another hour to haul it away because you have to load it up and travel time. But I couldn't give you an exact amount because who knows how much snow we'll get.
Sure. So that'll vary.
Yes. So again, Steve, to answer your question, that whatever the amount is would be even worse for us.
Right, so I mean, when you work on your 2022 and 23 budget, that's kind of what you're gonna look into?
We're in trouble because we don't have the funding.
So when they presented the budget this year, and they asked for an extra $20,000 or $40,000 for a freezer or something, and the thing was is, nobody had been doing the budget and turning it in prior to the city's budget. It was always like the last day, well, here it is, you know, and it stayed the same, and it came to council, and council always said, oh, okay, that's what they wanted, that's what they got. Well, now I started talking to him saying, you know, I mean, you look at the expenses and the electricity, the gas and all this, and that's what this money from the city was for, was to help, you know, offset that. And I just said, you know, I told him, I said, you're gonna have to do your budget sooner, you're gonna have to have it, you know, penciled in as to what your estimates are. You can't just sit at flat for 12 years and think you're gonna be fine. And so we've kind of floated, you know, we've had fundraisers when they're short or do this or that. But now this year, when you get a thing like the snow, and then you get a note saying that they're not gonna do it anymore, it really perked them up down there at that last board meeting. So that's kind of where we're at here. I know that you said the letter was they're gonna pick it, or still do it till middle of April or something like that, right? You know, and then.
April 4th,
The letter
I
said
believe.
April 4th, however,
4th, okay.
we committed to this body that we weren't going to stop doing anything until a solution was derived. So just want to make sure we're all remembering that and honoring that discussion. We talked about not just cutting that, but the letter did say April 4th, and you all received a copy of that.
Yep.
Right, and we're hoping it quits snowing by then.
Yeah.
And so, that's when we started discussing about coming up here and making a presentation, and then Amy had talked to, or he talked one way or another, and they were gonna come here and plead their case and let you kinda know early on of what to expect and where we're going from. If you guys wanted to continue doing the snow and the garbage removal, or if you want them to put that into their budget and then present the budget and
I don't
and go
think
from there.
doing the in-kind services by statute for senior center is not allowed. However, you can make a monetary contribution for that.
Well, that's what we found out the last
Yeah.
time.
Right.
But
Yeah, and-
before that,
and-
it was like, that's the status quo, is that they
Right.
just
Yeah,
did it.
and,
and-
you know, as a reminder, it used to be under the Parks Board, and I think some things probably stayed that probably should have been addressed more comprehensively at the time, but it is difficult to enforce the rules for those across the street and then not follow those same rules in the parking lot. And that's really what spurred the discussion, was the enforcement of the snow piles in downtown for safety, and then questions by those that were getting notices of potential fines, you know, questions on that. So it's just a matter of our accountability and making sure we're upholding our policies and ordinances. And if a request for additional funds is made for the next budget, that will come before the council to consider as you're developing
Right,
those.
so we're just kind of plotting the way out here of how it's gonna look for the next, you know,
For 2023.
go around. And just to let you know why it hadn't changed for so long, is I just kind of let it ride. And this is back, some of the notes I got back here with the building is back in 1986. And that was with Ray Eklund, had made the commitment to taking care of, helping with the expenses of running the place. And letting these folks do the, for lack of better words, you know, the games or the entertainment or that type of thing, the social events. And the city kind of took care of, you know, whatever it was gonna cost for, you know, heat, lights, water, gas. So, with that not having been addressed properly, I think that's kind of where the disconnect came, so.
I can add to that, we found a paper in some of our old files dated 1987 that had given an estimated cost of operating and maintenance. It was $76,000. That was 35 years ago. We're at 78 now.
I'm looking at this sheet, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure what this one is called, but are the payroll, child support, are those deductions from an employee, or are those expenses that the Golden Link is paying? Or is that just a
We had
label?
to pay those based on, we have
Like
Phil
a,
Thompson and Associates does our taxes.
are those,
That's on us.
It's paid by the individual.
Right.
Just listed as a separate line item.
But those are really deductions from someone's payroll, not a cost to the Golden Link, so we could add those back to the bottom line.
No, you could add them back to the payroll. They've taken it off of payroll, which I don't think is, but they list them all out separate, I don't know.
Yeah.
But those should be a deduction, yes? It's not actually the Golden Link paying those, the employee would be
No, but the
paying their
Golden Link
child
writes the
support.
check out to child support, just like the city does, just like anybody else does.
Yes, right.
But they take it out a different way. It's,
So it's not actually adding to the, are you telling me it's somewhere offsetting somewhere? So these three
Right.
items are not actually an expense, they're just shown as one?
they're showing how they were paid, yeah. You could take those three and add it, go and put it right under, the payroll for the first quarter, or payroll for, and split it up. I believe that's what she's showing. I know that, a little different way of doing it, but it does, or I should say a different way of reporting it. You shouldn't be seeing that.
Yeah.
It should be just a total for payroll.
So basically, we can go through 2022 here as status quo and have them maybe midsummer, come with another report, how their year is going, to say what their forecast is for increase if they need or whatever, and then start the 2023 season with themselves taking care of the snow and the garbage, and maybe
There's some,
offset that.
there are letters that we try to send out, kind of at the head of each budget season, to just a group that normally has a request, just asking them. I think we ask for some, a budget and then their prior year expenses. So the city kind of triggers that discussion, and then, yes, they'd be able to submit to us to include in your budget considerations.
I guess that's really all this is turning out to be, is just, if we want to stop the in-kind, which we are going to do because, as you said, it's not right, we are going to go back, as far as with the link, they're going to go back and give you a proper forecast of what it's going to be with a budget that they need, and to, keep it within reason, but then give you a expense sheet so you know just where it is and what the tallies are. So it'll be probably a little more transparent to see what's going on. Some of those things that haven't been reported forever, it's just, boom, 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 and here's what we need.
I think it's real difficult to forecast snow removal, though.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you
do it
kind
in
of
reason.
average it and,
Yeah.
it's like anything else, if you gotta take it from this account to put it in that one. But, they've got some, I don't know if they got any, they got a little in reserves.
So
But nothing
basically,
crazy.
you hire out someone to do the sidewalks, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what that expense is, that shows snow removal. That
That's-
is just for the sidewalks.
That's 175.
Yeah, well,
No,
No, that's
No.
what that was the proposed budget.
I don't think we
They
had
got
a
a
quote
quote.
on that one, on the sidewalks.
oh, the 175 an hour, that's a
Proposed,
request, that was
That was the,
they bid it out.
yeah.
But
Is that
what they've
under-
got on here, there's just a couple of, where the hell did
Would
they
that
say?
be under contracted services for $2,370? Is that part of that?
Right.
Right.
It
I
says, yeah, contracted service, snow removal, Ornbakken, and payroll snow removal, that's what they've paid.
it's difficult to find somebody to remove snow.
And you gotta keep it,
And
the
on the
ice off of
sidewalk.
there.
Right, I get it, yeah.
So that's what that's paid for, and then
Yeah.
they've had it free from the city, so it'll be on top of that for their expenses.
May I interject a question as a taxpayer? I just wondered, is this council doing this to other businesses in town?
This
Doing
is
what?
one,
Just asking,
do you mean the enforcement of the snow?
well, yes,
Or-
or are you looking at other, see,
This
Hey,
is,
I'm having.
When the fire department asks for, the volunteer or the paid on call, you know, we budget with them here and that, they give their P&L and they ask for a budget. So yeah, any of these,
And
organizations that you give money to, they give you a sheet of where it went to.
this one is also a little bit unique in that the funds that are allocated make up 5% of your levied dollars in your Parks and Rec fund. So it is a little bit unique from some of the other allocations that are made in that you are levying a certain amount each year. And so that, with it being the public dollars going out, I do think there's a little bit higher level of responsibility just to review these types of things and make sure you're staying on target with the amount of money that you're allocating under your levied funds.
I guess myself, you know, we've, like you say, it was back in '87 when Ray wrote that letter, and we've been doing that stuff. And I can remember other times throughout the years that I've been on the council and the Gold Link wanting, you know, needing, or a request for more money, well, then we've done different things to do that. I can't see, you know, why did this all of a sudden come up that we can't do an in-kind deal? You know,
Tom,
I think when you
Tom,
go to your constituents and you say, okay, we can't do it, we've got all the equipment and everything to do it, but we can't, but we can raise your taxes to pay them to have somebody else do it, they're gonna say, what kind of fools are you?
Tom, you'd have to go up higher to the state legislators to ask that question because it's set in statute.
But
So-
where-
It's
why
violating
has it been done
statute.
all these years and all of a sudden we can't?
Well, that's a good question, but as we've
Probably
uncovered
oversight.
things, we are trying to rectify them. This came to light because there was being snow piled by downtown businesses in the corridor, causing safety issues. When we began enforcing that, those business owners that had to also expend additional dollars to haul their snow away asked why the city was clearing a private lot. So that's what, so we have to, you cannot give everything to everyone all the time. There are rules and policies in place. This is a public body, and you have to be, one, you have to be knowledgeable about what you're doing, and when something comes to light, it's responsible to talk about it and make sure. Upon that research, state statute says you cannot do in-kind for a senior center. You can allocate dollars. So if it's an issue with state statute, you'll have to call our representative and our senator, because I can't help you with that. But as far as our own local codes, this body and prior bodies have set those. You have a garbage ordinance. So those are the things that we're trying to follow and rectify, and that's allowing this
Yeah, I think-
discussion before you.
I agree. I think just because it's been done a certain way for so many years, I mean, we are constantly finding things that probably have not been done right, and that's why we have Corky here, and that's why we first off, we have to do stuff according to our ordinance and state statute.
Right.
But there's two ways to skin a cat. If we agree as a council or give them some on the other end, and that's, I would agree with that too. I mean,
Right.
You know, we try to do recreation from toddlers all the way up to our senior citizens, and I don't think this body here has any problem upping their budget a few dollars to cover the snow removal and garbage removal. I don't think that's an issue with this body here.
Yeah, I don't think anybody here is like not saying they don't want to support the seniors. I think that what we want to do it is the most appropriate way, and we're not violating statute.
Exactly.
And that is where the conversation came from. So I think we're just trying to do what's right by the city, by the state, and then also by the senior center. So I think that we need to keep that in mind as we're going forward, is we're just trying to do it the right way.
I think this is a good start for us to look at what has happened in the past and also what we need to do for the future. And I really appreciate Golden Link coming in and giving us some information on what they need and so forth, and how we can help them out. It's a very important part of our city. And speaking as a senior citizen and a member of that group, I think they've done a great job in the last couple of years straightening that place out and doing a good job and for the senior citizens. And we need to take a good, close look at it. And we're not saying we're not going to support it, but let's take a look at it and see what we can do.
Make a suggestion, since we're kind of under the cover of the Park and Rec, maybe we should be more involved with the Park and Rec and inform them all the time what's going on.
Well, too, and I know, I had a tour there and, you know, we give, financing or funding to the Golden Link and, you know, Wayne's the liaison. You know, he's on the board, he could be a liaison to bring us back information if that's okay.
We kind of explained it to him a little bit this year when they wanted that freezer in there and he tried to put it in at the last moment.
Right.
We had already, in theory, passed the budget here. And so that's why it didn't go through. And we thought, I talked with Amy and we thought we could maybe some other way or some other time help finish up the project if need be. And that's kind of, you know, we talked about the budget at that time and when they should do it. And then when it came with this, like you say, Tommy, it might be less expensive this way, but in order to soothe everybody, we're gonna have to do it this way, and that'll be included in that. And I'll work with them down there on that and make sure that it gets presented in a timely fashion, and we'll get going on the right side. It just, I guess in this year, just to explain to you guys where it goes, how it came about, and like you say, knowing that I don't think there's anyone up here that's gonna vote against helping the seniors on that, and comparatively what we pay there to the arena or to the swimming pool or any other project, just mowing the grass. So take it for what it's worth there, I guess, and then just be willing to work with the committee from the link
I
in
think
the
it's
fall.
kind
Yeah,
of one of those
however we
things,
have to do
having,
it, we should do it.
having a liaison on there, you know, I don't know that they've always had that community connection with the council, and I think you being on there, I think it'd be good for you guys to say in the future, to pick a council member if Wayne's off or who is, you know, as we rotate through, and to have somebody as a voice here so you can bring that here, because I've been on almost 8 years and, you know, this is the first time I've ever had any incidents with.
Haven't heard from us, yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things I think it's important with like all the groups that we deal with, that we fund or whatever, to get a report.
I understand,
So,
I
yeah.
understand.
I think the other thing that would be really nice to see going forward is, you know, as our new website comes up, is that, you know, if people are coming to our website looking for things to be done, you know, since we do support the senior center, I'd love to see there's some type of link or understanding of what's available for seniors who are possibly coming to live here or just live here, looking to find out what's going on with the Golden Lake or activities for senior citizens in general. And I don't know if that would be something too with Parks and Rec or something that you guys can have a conversation about, but I'd love that to be in a space where people can go and check out what's going on and the good things that you guys are doing down there.
And I just want to just to make sure that you know, and I'm sure you know, but we're the Crookston Area Senior Association. So we cover an area, not just the city of Crookston. We have people come in from Beltrami and Euclid and, you know, Fisher, all over, Red Lake Falls.
So, does other areas help support the Golden Lake?
Correct.
They do?
As far as them funding us?
Yes.
No, the people. The people that live in those areas come in.
But there's grants, there's memberships, there's
I mean, is it possible
fundraisers.
to, if it's, I mean, let's just say that there's a large constituency out of Red Lake Falls or
All three of them.
Fisher or whatever, I mean, is it, I mean, can some of those communities,
I believe they have their own, pardon me, I believe they have their own senior center. I mean,
Okay.
Crookston's unique, but it was started with those three members that are mentioned in the letter as an area, you know, so we're not so inclusive.
so as a taxpayer, I could argue that I want my tax dollars going to Crookston residents and not benefiting somebody else that comes outside of the city of Crookston. Is that fair to say?
So do you
or-
want me to start charging people that aren't Crookston residents more money to be a member?
What?
You want us to start charging people that aren't a city of Crookston
Oh,
resident?
no, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just thinking to myself as a Crookston taxpayer that I want my tax dollars to benefit Crookston city residents is what I'm saying. And somebody that may not pay taxes within the city of Crookston may be getting some benefits for the
I
Golden
wouldn't
Lake.
step too hard on that when you got the
Well-
swimming pool and the ice rink.
And you've
No,
got
listen,
businesses in town, are the businesses gonna
I'm
change
just
their?
being a devil's advocate
I know.
per se, so I'm just,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's no real, it's not like different towns or different townships that are, it's probably some farmers that live out around the area or some citizens that live out past the Highland that aren't in the,
Well, and
they're
they-
not in the city, and so you don't have to kick them out because they're not city
and
residents.
those folks would say, well, we do a lot of shopping in Crookston, so you're getting my tax dollars. So I
Right.
get it, I'm just throwing it out there.
Walmart would be,
Yeah.
But to participate,
Withdraw.
you do have to pay the membership, correct?
say again,
But to participate, you have to have the membership, right?
To be a
Regardless
membership.
if you're living in Crookston or outside of Crookston.
Right.
correct.
Just to add some information to your point, I volunteered to put the stickers on our newsletters that go out. We have, I believe, one page of people outside of the area of Crookston, and we have 8 pages of stickers of Crookston residents.
That's
So
good.
It's about, 90-10 or.
I get what you're clucking there, but
You know, I've seen,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna mention any names, but I know in the past there's, some, a family that I know and they passed away, may they rest in peace, but they were active in the Golden Lake and they were out rural Fisher area or whatever, and they made a sizable donation to the Golden Lake, so, it comes back around, so.
Ram, is,
Clayton.
as far as filing for grants or anything, are you keeping track of the numbers as far as people coming in there? Is that used in any type of grants?
yeah, that's Kathy does the grants, her and
Tammy,
you and Tammy, and they do, they've been getting grants from Bremer, they got one from Otter Tail,
it's on that sheet, Clayton.
yeah, so I mean, they do try to keep up with that.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
saying
And
the
they've-
fact that,
and you
that
can
way, if you have somebody coming in, and they're probably not coming in every day,
Yeah,
but, if you're using the numbers and you're in a grant, it's paying for itself, in my opinion, to a certain point.
yeah, and if those folks are coming in, I
You
mean,
also, excuse me, sir, you also have to remember that every grant that comes in has to be spent for a specific purpose, so it's going back into the link.
Yep, understand that.
And our ultimate goal, of course, is to, seeing that we're a 501c, is at the end of a taxable year, that we, can come down with small figures. Meaning if, everything that we bring in, fundraising, grants, is being spent
Right.
on our seniors.
And locally.
And locally.
Okay,
When we
well,
can.
Very good.
I want to thank you for your time, and we're gonna make this work.
Figure something out.
We'll figure this out. We'll put it in the budget somehow, find the funding. It's in-kind money. We'll make this situation work. Just put it in the budget and see where we go with it.
Appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council.
Thank you very much, all of you. for your-
Thank you, Rand.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rand.
That was past Bob's bedtime.
Bob, thanks, Bob.
Are we adjourned, Mr. Mayor? Great.